Right, as Chrissy Columbus said, you can never cross the ocean until you first have courage to lose sight of the shore. Welcome to the You've Been Weathered podcast.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right, today's guest is an actor, but most important, he's the CEO of a fantastic new interactive actors tool called Vshowcards. So let's welcome Darren Tassell. Dal.
Yes, mate.
Tell us sort of how the conception and the vision of Vshowcards came about.
Well, actually, you know all about this, Ed, because you was in my kitchen when we sort of come up with this idea.
Yeah, well, drop me out of it, sort of thing, but because it kills everything there, because I can't ask you any questions that you don't think I don't know. But just like in general, I know I was there and it was a fantastic sort of a brainstorming thing, but you know, the difference is you took it further. So I remember first hearing it about you. So before I heard it, give us a feeling of where the conception of it come from and what sort of frame of mind you was in at the time and what you was doing at the time. Because as I said, you do a bit of acting and whatnot, and I know you went to India, but we'll touch on that later on, sort of thing. But you know, I think it's important as someone who's driving this amazing little tool to sort of, you know, lay your conception out, you know, to people that actually need to get one of these Vshowcards.
Yeah, well, look, obviously the concept is called Vshowcard, and the name derives from when you send your contact details on a phone, you send a V card. So what we decided is to call this Vshowcards, and this is all your acting details. This is your comprehensive CV in one link. Right.
But where was you in your head? Right. I know we can explain. I don't know, where was you doing? What had you just finished? And you know, where was you in your head? Was you sort of a little bit disillusioned with things to say, you know, what was you doing? Where was you not?
Look, as an actor, it's really hard to get yourself out there and get yourself seen. Now, obviously, everyone has to be considered an actor. You have to have spotlight. And I've been on Spotlight for 4 years and I've never had nothing from it, mate. And it's cost me an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
So look, I just made a new show reel, and I had a personal website. So I created a page on that personal website to store my show reel. And I thought, well, while that's there, why don't I give them some more information all on the same page? So like my headshots and my measurements, my agent's details and work I've done and stuff like that, and all my links to social media and IMdb. And I just thought, well, look, after I created this, I thought, well, look, this actually looks fantastic. And it's everything about me in one place. Rather than when I apply for a casting, I send them a link to my IMdb, a link to my Spotlight, a couple of photos, a show reel, blah, 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 and I ended up sending...
How do you write that? How do you write the email? Is there a special...
It's BR.
Gotcha. I bet that was a joke. So what you're saying is really you're waiting for acting jobs and you're applying for acting jobs, and it's just a plain sort of email where when you apply for acting jobs, sort of via email, you're putting links all over the place. You
put in 5 links and God knows what else. And look, casting directors, when they've got projects coming up, they haven't got time to sit there. They might get 5,000 people apply for a casting. Now, if every one of them sends 5 links, that's 25,000 links they've got to check. So we come up with this concept to put everything about you in one link. So the casting director just clicks on that and it opens up and it's literally everything about you. It's a supercharged CV. and everything about you is at one click. So it saves the casting directors an extraordinary amount of time. I've even had casting directors randomly message me and say, Darren, thank you so much for Vshowcards. It really is making our casting job so much easier.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic, because the tools that you've got on it is phenomenal, really. And I just can't see how people, I suppose you've had a couple of little bugs in it for a little while, don't you? You know, where it's taken off so fast.
Yeah.
You haven't had time to sort of take it step by step by step.
It took off much faster than we thought it would. Once we come up with this concept, and I thought, do you know what, other people will like this. So we then created this, you know, I sold my car and got money together to put into this, because I really believed in it.
I bet you nearly sold one of the kids as well.
Two of them. Yeah, so look, we put our stock into this, thinking that it's going to be popular, and it grew twice as fast as we thought it would. We gave ourselves 8 months to get 200 faces on there, and by the 8 months we had over 400 faces on there. So it really is a thing. But then, because of the way the initial build was, which was our test in the water, it's just the amount of usage it's got. I mean, we're getting 5,000 views every month.
Wow.
And on a good month, we're having 15,000 views on our site on a good month. So
you have to have a sort of an underbelly that can cope with that sort of thing. But also, Dale, you've done this without any funding, really, have you? Like an initial sort of start-up few quid or whatever. But where you took it to with who helped you with the startup and all that, Dal?
Well, look, it was I partnered up with another actor, Alex Reese. And we went round and got quotes from developers and stuff, and we found one that was connected to a friend of a friend.
Don't mention money and all that, but this is just interesting about. The point is what I'm trying to get to is, you know, if you follow your passion and you've got the drive to follow your passion, you can bring something that costs sort of whatever it cost in its initial sort of stages and take it anywhere. This is what Columbus said, you know. You know, if you want to sail the ocean, you know, you want to get across the ocean, you've got to first lose sight of the shore, and that's sort of what.
Exactly. And look, when COVID first hit, mate, I knew I weren't going to be acting for 6 months, a year. We didn't know what it was going to be. So we just said, well, look, we're going to have 6 months of doing nothing here. So let's put our stock into this and give it everything we've got. We rolled it out. People absolutely responded to it. It's now being accepted alongside spotlights for some major castings as well, because casting directors are now saying, look, send me your spotlight or your Vshowcard, because they know there's so much information.
Are we talking about sort of the mainstream casting directors, you know, like, or is it also taking time for sort of, because it's beautiful, really, because it's a digital sort of era, people that are starting, casting directors, can only grow with it, really, can't they? Yes. The old school casting directors, like what they do anyway to everybody, you know, are quite lazy in their approach to anything, really.
Yeah, they're quite rigid, and they do things a certain way, and it's going to take a little time of chipping away to get them to change that. But look, we're in this for the long haul. We have every intention of changing the way it's done. There needs to be some changes in the industry, mate, because it is tough. Actors have got to fork out for this site, that site, the other site. And you're talking, all in all, you're talking nearly 500, 600 quid a year before you even get a job.
Yeah.
And I was on, I mean, I'm on Spotlight, but I was on Spotlight, I was on Mandy, I was on this, I was on that. Mate, it must be a fortune, and I never got a job from it. All my jobs came through my own self-marketing. So you know, I then said, well, that's it. We've got to make this ultimate self-marketing tool. So when a casting director opens it up, their first impression is, wow.
Yeah.
And we actually were very lucky. We had Nancy Bishop check out the site, and she absolutely loved it. She said, this is an ideal Exactly, an ideal thing to send to a casting director. It has all your information on it, and she even gave us a quote for the website. She was that impressed.
Right.
But look, because we've grown so fast, the current site has slowed down a little. So we're very nearly finished building the much newer, much faster, more responsive, much more brilliant features on there as well.
Right, Dal. So give us some idea of the tools and the benefit of them tools for, I mean, I think this is an ideal sort of marketing tool for people that coming out of drama school, you know, that haven't got actual IMdb credits or CVs and things like that, so they can actually put their own stuff. So walk us through the sort of tools of it, Dal.
Basically, look, you can upload your show reel, your headshots, your measurements, your agent's details, all your social media as well, all your casting sites. You can store them all on there, so they've got access to everything at the click of a button. We've got some brilliant new features coming into our new site, which helps you. Basically, I found personally, I use my Vshowcard a lot, and mate, look, it's been very, very successful for me.
I've used it a couple of times as well, my one, Dal.
Yeah, I've got a lot of movies lined up, more than I've ever had before, waiting for COVID to finish. So I've found it a very successful tool. So we've now sat down with the new build. We've gone, how can we make this even better, have a better impact? And one of the ways is by being able to personalize your profiles and target specific casting types.
Wow.
So for example, like myself, obviously I'm a 6 foot skinhead. I get a lot of hard man roles, gangster roles and stuff like that. So one of my profiles, you get 3 options. So one of my profiles is a hard man role.
You could get a couple of Nancy roles as well.
Exactly. I could do a Nancy Vshowcard as well.
Oh, carry on, mate.
or a love interest, so I can target specific ones. So I can have 3 different casting types. So that when, say for example, I see a hard man job advertised, I send off the hard man version, and that's got a different show reel, hard man looking headshots. So when they open the Vshowcard, their first impression is, wow, this is some hard man. It really is. Their first impression is, wow, this is the character we're looking for. So you can really target them. So you get a much better response rate. Just by sending out like your spotlight CV or something, you might get a very low response rate on, you might get 1 response in 50 applications. Where I've found mine is now I'm targeting specific, and when they open it, it looks like the casting type they're looking for. Because if they look at my headshot, if they look at my spotlight, I've got all different headshots.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? All the standard stuff. But this I actually use to target specific roles. So again, look, your response rate goes massively through the roof. I've had an incredible response rate. I've got more work lined up than I've ever had before, and it's
so I mean, what I like about it as well is the video section, you know, that you can upload. I mean, if you have made 4 or 5 short movies, you know, short 10-15 minute movies, or however long the movie is, especially as an actor, if you're an actor that's just on their journey, and they're doing short movies for friends, and they're doing short movies for this and short movies for that, which I think sometimes are the best short movies anyway, but they get lost in this industry. So with your Vshowcard, if you've made 5 short movies, on the video section of your page, you can actually upload them 5 short movies.
Yes, you can have your main show reel plus 10 other videos. Wow. Now, when you apply for castings, you send off to a casting director, and what their job is to sell you. Once they think you're right for the role, they've got to sell you to the director. Yeah. So that director might say, have you got anything you can show me of him in a similar role? So those 10 other videos, you can have loads of short movies in that, but you can also have extended soldier clips, extended gangster clips and things like that. So you're much more likely to get a role if a director can see you in a similar role and think you played it well.
Yeah.
So you can literally send it off to the director and say, yeah, check out video 5. That's an extended soldier clip. That's more of me in that role.
Yeah.
So it really helps you to target those specific roles you're going for. If you go for any role that's available, you're kind of spreading yourself in. But if you know what your casting type is, now people say don't be typecast, but I'm against that, and I believe completely the opposite, especially when you're starting your journey.
Well, even when you're in your journey, you know, you have to get work however you got to get work. You can't really pick and choose it.
And it's playing to your strengths. That's exactly it. So you can really target specific roles, and when they open it up, they just think, oh wow, this is that character. You will get a much better response. Rather than 1 in 50, I'm getting 1 in 10 responses now, because I'm targeting those roles.
So how do you see this sitting next to Spotlight and all that? Are you going to be in competition with Spotlight?
Well, look, we are not a casting site. We're a casting tool. Spotlight, you know, you've got lovers.
It's the same thing, isn't it? I think Spotlight's the same thing, same concept of what you're doing, but obviously yours is far more equipped to outdo Spotlight. But what I'm trying to get is, we've got to start fighting establishments now, you know. You've got to start fighting people that have got access to, I don't know, 90,000 actors, 170 quids a year. They've got a lot of money, you know. You've got a lot of money. What sort of difficulties do you see coming from? I don't think IMdb will bother too much, but Spotlight being in England, and you're in a position with a product to actually make Spotlight look like the Beano sort of thing. How do you see it going with that mob?
Well, look, when Spotlight works for you, it works for you. But I done a poll very early on in this journey, and it works out that 82%. This is a poll based on 1,200 users. And it works out 82% of those Spotlight users were paying £158 a year, but not even getting a job that could cover that fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I've been on it for 5 years or 4 years, 5 years, and I've never had a job for it. So 82% of users don't even make their money back from Spotlight jobs. So it's a lot. And then when you look at, and because you're getting no work from there, you join another site, and now you join 5 sites, and they're all 100 or 200 quid a year, and it's not practical. It's not practical, mate. We can't afford it. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. We struggle too. So we've come up with this concept because we feel something needs to change. So the very first thing is we make it affordable. So therefore, we've made it £39 a year or £3.99 a month.
Can't argue with that. But let me tell you, people, look, 39 quid a year. Okay, you're talking about having all your photos on it. You're talking about your CV on it. You're talking about your agent on it, all your measurements, all everything. Also, you're talking about whatever movies you've done, or whatever you've done is sort of on the front page, all beautifully presented. You can upload 5, 10 videos on it in this new site. You voiceovers, you can do absolutely everything. So 39 quid a year.
But on top of that, Ed,
Spotlight is like 170 quid a year, and all you get on that is a show reel and a CV. So just do the maths. Go on, Dal.
Not only that, mate, but for that money that you give us, we want to give you much more than that. So, you know, Spotlight, take your money, you've got a number, you use your link, and there's some castings going through it. But we want to get you exposure. We want to get you seen. We want to share your work. When your Vshow card makes you look fantastic. It really is a supercharged CV. So we want to share that. We want to get you seen. Recently, there was one of our community members, Paul Andrew Goldsmith. He applied for a casting that he saw, and he sent his Vshow card. And he actually got a reply from the director that said, "Oh, Paul, I know all about your work. I've seen it on Vshowcards." And Paul said, "I've never had that before. I've never had that in my life, where I applied to a director and they already know my work."
Yeah.
And he said that's all because of what we do on Vshowcards on Twitter. We share everything. We share your new updates, your headshots, your requests for help, your new show reels, and everything in between. We are there to support you. I've been cutting reels for people as well who are struggling to do it for themselves.
Good.
We want to help you. We want to give you much more value than just $3.99 a month or £39 a year. We want to give you loads. We want to give you exposure. And the new site is absolutely tailored and developed to give you more exposure.
What sort of time we talking about before the new site's released? So I don't have to keep interrupting you. And, you know, do you advise people to join the old site or wait for the new site?
The new site we want to launch.
When is it coming?
The new site we want to launch at the first week of next month. But look, this has been a long process because we're checking stuff and we're updating stuff and adding better stuff as well. So it's been quite a journey. We actually initially hoped to launch it in March. But we've just really, and we've got a fantastic designer now who's come and overhauled the whole site. And we've added some brilliant new features as well. And one of them is Film City, where exactly what you mentioned about all these short films that once you've got them and they've been around the film festivals, they disappear. So we've got a place where you can literally store all your short films, your feature films, even your projects needing funding. And when people watch that, all the filmmaker details are in there. You can even receive donations towards your next work. If people like your film, they can make a small donation.
Wow.
And not only that, when they watch the film, underneath it's all tagged who stars in this, any Vshowcard members, so your profile is there. It's all about getting you more exposure. Wow. If people like your acting, they can directly underneath click on your Vshowcard and see all of your work and hire you.
Brilliant. So we want people really to get into now immediately. Is it still up, the old site?
Yeah, Vshowcards.com is up and running, but my personal opinion, wait until the new site. It's 3 or 4 weeks away, and it is so much better, so much faster, packed with features designed to get you seen.
Yeah, and we'll let us know when the launch is and all that, Dal, and we'll sort of put it all in your description and everything when it's coming out. Right. I mean, look, everyone get on that Vshowcards, really. That's all there is to do it. There's a lot of great people on it and a lot of people are seeing it. So, right, Dal, going back to young Darren, what was your life like and where were you born and where did you hang out and everything?
Mate, I grew up in Rotherhithe, Bermondsey. One of 4 kids. My dad worked, my mum was stay-at-home mum. We didn't really have a pot to piss in our whole lives. But look, none of that mattered to us. I'm not about money. I've never been about money. I've never had stacks of it, and I've been happy my whole life. That's not what drives me. So I had a wonderful family.
Where did the creativity come from? Was your parents creative, or were they, you know, what did they do? What did they support your creativity? When did you sort of first embark on that sort of vibration of creativity?
It went back to being at school, mate. When I was at Scott Lidgett, I was in the 1st or 2nd year, and a group called the London Bubble came round to the school and wanted to take some kids and do a play. And I love drama and things like that. So I went off and done this thing, and we ended up putting a play on in their big blue circus tent thing in Spa Gardens and Southwark Park. And it was a very successful play. And since then, mate, I got the bug and I was bitten. So, I mean, my parents didn't do creative jobs or anything like that. My dad was a plumber. My mum had a Saturday job in William Hill, but they were very supportive. Once I then got bitten by that bug, after we'd finished that play with a school, I joined the London Bubble and done theatre groups, and my mum paid for that, and then she sent me to another one, Oliver Entertainments in Catford. So my mum and dad have always been very, very supportive of what I want to do. They've always known that I have that sort of personality that lends itself to acting, because I'm not shy in any way. I'm very, very outgoing. So my mum and dad have been amazing, and even since, you know, after that, I wanted to act for 30 years, mate.
I was in the bubble. I started in the bubble myself, you know. I remember sort of the most craziest thing I've ever sort of happened. I walked up to the London Bubble one day because we both come from the same sort of area. And let me say, the London Bubble has been a really important part in a lot of people's lives.
Mate.
Right? They need more credit than what they've actually got. So I run into a geezer called Adrian Jackson. I mean,
I remember Adrian.
Never done a bit of acting in my life, sort of thing. He just walks up to me and went, "Oi, mate." I said, "I want to be an actor." He said, "Well, you better come upstairs then and we're workshopping." Cut to sort of 30 years later, sort of 64 IMdb credits and you know, but all down to that. So the bubble is a great thing. So you left school, Dal. Obviously, what age was you when you was doing the bubble?
That was from about 13 onwards.
13 onwards. So right, bang, you're working with the London bubble, doing a couple of productions with them, and then it stops, yeah, because you have to get on with life.
Yeah, mate. Look, I was a little terror. I got booted out of school early, and my life just took a different turn. And I was a little troublemaker. Yeah, I was, mate, for a few years.
I think that goes with the territory, really, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, mate? It does. But look, I'm glad I got all of that out the way while I was young. And by the time I was 21, I had my first kid, and the minute I had my first kid, my whole life changed. Everything stopped, and I got a job, and I had to get on with life now. And the only thing that ever mattered is coming home to my children.
So 16 to 21, you've left school. Did you get exams and all that, Dal?
No, mate.
No, just was.
No. I was booted out of school before the exams.
Yeah, right. So you go 16, now you starting a family. And then how did you get from that point to being in India, making movies with the Bollywood firm?
Well, look, for the next probably 30 years, mate, I sat there, and obviously I had to take a different journey and provide for my family. I've now got 5 kids.
Yeah.
So I've had to provide for them. And then 4.5 years ago, or nearly 5 years ago now, I just said, well, we had our last baby, and I said, right. And my missus said, I want to go back to work. I said, okay, then. I said, I'll tell you what, you go back to work. I'll stay at home and be a stay-at-home dad, and I'm going to make a go of acting. And she was like, what? I said, I want to be an actor. I want to go and do it. Now is my chance. If you want to go back to work, I'll stay at home. I'm gonna give this a go. So look, it was literally that. So I then started getting a few extra jobs to get myself on set. I knew I've got a strategy for everything, mate. So I weren't just going to bumble along and hope someone was going to offer me a role. I got some extra work, and I learned what it's like to be on set and how it all works, the hierarchy and everything. And while I'm sitting there as an extra, I'm looking over there at the actors. And I'm going, that's where I want to be sitting. That's where I want to be sitting. So I decided, right, that's it. No more extra work. That's it. I'm going to act. So I've done a few student films to make up a show reel. And then as soon as I got the show reel, I applied to Spotlight. Spotlight said no, because I didn't have enough of this or enough of that. So I gave myself a year to meet their requirements. So in that year, I worked nothing but that. And then by the end of the year, I applied to Spotlight, and they said, yeah, thank you very much.
So, I mean, the interesting thing about how through all that process of what you just done, how did you get to getting lead roles in Bollywood movies? I mean, if you think about it, it's not the sort of norm, the journey of somebody who's doing extra work and then doing little short films to all of a sudden, without having any sort of previous or form around you, playing lead roles in India. I'm interested.
I got very lucky, mate. I a month after quitting my job, I got an audition for the Actimel Christmas commercial, where it's a drill sergeant training Santa. So it's just very shouty and very shouty. So through 3 sets of auditions, I beat 1,200 people to that role. And this is a month after quitting my job. So I knew
an open audition.
Yeah. It was an open audition. So I knew I made the right move. A month after quitting my job, I've just landed the role in front of 1,200 people. And so a little while after that was just before Christmas. And then about February, one of my friends sent me a casting for a war film, a Bollywood war film.
Right.
And so
you didn't send the Actimel.
I did, because it was a similar role. It was a similar role.
Like a Smurf, though.
Yes, but it was a similar role, and the director saw me in that similar role and said, "That's what we need."
Well, there you go, man.
So look, I weren't aware of the size of this movie or anything like that. I thought it was a small movie in a small role. But
in a small country.
Yeah, little did I know. So I went to this audition and I sat with the director and spoke to him about it. And my first day on set, they said, like, you need to walk across here and say this. So I walked across here and in drill sergeant fashion, company, and everyone was just like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. So they ended up writing me more and more into this film. So as the film progressed, they just give me more and more and more, and they were ended up taking words and lines and scenes off of another actor to give them to me to perform into this. So I started off as a very small role in this film, and it just grew and grew and grew as to the lead British actor in this movie.
Yeah, obviously, again, the other actor couldn't make the grade,
mate. And look, I was a bit naive with all of that, and I didn't know how big this was going to be. But I was starring alongside Yograj Singh and Diljit Dosanjh, who are two of the biggest stars in India. So this film ended up in cinemas in pretty much every country in the world, and it just went ballistic. It was the biggest Punjabi film ever made, and it was the most successful. And since then,
it's a good film, actually, though, isn't it? It's about tell us something about the movie, Dal.
Well, it's called SAJJAN Singh RANGROOT, and it's about the First World War and the Indian Army joining the British Army to help us defeat Germany.
The Sikhs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Sikhs. Yeah, it's so it basically follows me. I'm the lead British actor, so it follows the main stars, the Indians who join the British Army. And I have to train them and put them through their paces and then lead them into every battle. And then obviously as the movie grows on, my role kind of lowers down a bit. And because obviously it's an Indian film, they want the Indians to be the heroes. So I put them through their paces, lead them into every battle, which was absolutely incredible to film. And then obviously as the film reaches its climax, I won't spoil it too much for anyone who wants to watch it. As
the war.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? But mate, listen, that was a dream role. I was running across the field.
I'll tell you a dream role for you. I'll tell you a dream role for you. You come from Bermondsey, right? So sort of Millwall is the team. So all of a sudden, from this Bollywood movie, you jump into another Bollywood movie playing an ex-Millwall.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre. I mean, that actually happened when I was in India filming SAJJAN Singh RANGROOT. One of the other stars said, look, I've just seen a casting from one of my friends, a Bollywood director, and he's looking for someone exactly like you. So I contacted him, sent him my photos, and it turns out it's playing Stephen Constantine, who's the manager of the Indian national team. Now, he was one of the coaches at Millwall. Yeah. So this connection is really there. So when they've opened up my pictures, I actually look like him. He's 6'3", skinhead. So they just said, oh my God, this is so perfect. So
what did they say when you said, well, look, I've supported Millwall all my life?
It was just one of them very, very surreal moments. Just to how it all worked out, and he's actually released a book saying from the den to Bollywood.
Wow. You know what I mean? It's a great story, though, this guy's story, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
What's the film called? Barefoot Warriors.
Barefoot Warriors.
And why is it called Barefoot Warriors?
Because basically it goes back to like the 1948 World Cup or around that time, where the India team played barefoot. But it's about a successful cup run modern day. But the team, the main star ends up towards the end of the final game. He ends up going back and taking his shoes off to honour his grandfather, who was one of the legendary players back then.
Yeah, and amazing, mate. I mean, amazing journey, really. And it doesn't stop there with Bollywood with you, does it? Because now your Vshowcards are out in Bollywood.
Yeah, and not only that, I've got 3 Bollywood movies awaiting cinema release. They're waiting for the cinemas to open again.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 big Bollywood movies waiting for cinema releases and 2 more to go and film as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nightmare, this COVID, isn't it? This COVID has just been a nightmare. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 projects just lucky they're coming to fruition now, but it has just been an absolute killer.
It's been hard.
this brings us back to Vshowcards as well. So, you know, people ain't got that money, have they, to spend anymore, you know?
Not on those sites that no one's working.
Promotions.
No one's got the money. Yeah. So you know, Kate Davis Speak, who runs a very she runs Showreel Share Day. She had recently applied for a TV casting, a mainstream TV casting, and when she spoke to him, and because she isn't back on Spotlight again because no one's got the money. Yeah. So she said, look, I had Spotlight, but I don't have it now. Will you accept a Vshowcard? They said, yes, happily. They saw how much information was contained within the, and they said, we will happily accept Vshowcards for this casting, yes.
Amazing, mate. Yeah.
And not only that, but we're bringing our Bollywood contacts to Vshowcard as well. So we've got, between myself and Alex, my business partner, we've both done a lot of Bollywood work. So we're bringing all our contacts to Vshowcards, and they're actually casting their movies from the Vshowcard community.
Yeah, we're doing this little movie at the moment. We're just sort of nearly in pre-production at last. You know what the movie that I'm talking about. Yeah. You know, it's been waiting for ages. And
mate, it's about time it got what it deserved. It really is.
We need an Indian actor for that, but I've already spoke to you about that anyway. So hopefully we can sort of...
Absolutely. That's what we're there for. We're there to help. We're there to help you. We're there to help actors. We want to add something that we feel's missing. And there's a disjointed bit between the actor and the casting sites, but we want to fill that gap. We want to know who you are and promote you based on your strengths and your skills. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give something that's a little bit different. We're trying to add to the industry what we think is missing. And that main word is exposure. And you know, it's about...
Yeah, no, I've got you, mate. I've got you. Totally. I'm sure everyone's got you on that as well. I mean, it's an important tool for actors. But... your boy's getting involved in a bit of acting now, Darren.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he had his own...
I see you jumping behind a tree dressed all green and all that.
Mate, look, he had a YouTube channel, and obviously I'm with... well, he's still got a YouTube channel, I beg your pardon, called Kid Crazy. And
Crazy.
Yeah, and you know, the director who's been doing these films, he's also a VFX wizard who's also on Vshowcards under the crew section.
Yeah.
But Ryan was so confident on screen doing this Kid Crazy stuff that I said, look, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be an actor like you, Dad. So I said, okay, well, look, if that's the truth, then I'm going to help you get started. So I created him a Vshowcard and got him some headshots and everything, put it together. And then he got cast in a movie. So he's done 2 movies now, and he's got 2 more lined up to do.
Oh, he was lucky, mate. When my kids come to me and asked me, and I said to them, what do you want? What do you want to be? He said, Carl. He said, I want to be a fuck up like you, Dad. I mean, horses for courses.
Well, thankfully, that's not the case, though, is it? He's doing very well.
But yeah, he is, Barney. He's doing really, really good. So he's got your boy's got management as well, yeah.
Yes, mate. He's actually got the same agent as me, as you know.
Who's that?
It's Camilla Story Management. Which, mate, look, you know.
Well, this little movie that we're doing, one of the girls who's got one of the roles in it, she used to be with Camilla.
Oh, brilliant.
And all that. So it's another little sort of connection there. But she's all right, Camilla, isn't she? How are you finding sort of work? I know there's not a lot of work about. You're doing a lot of self-tapes and
I mean, a few's coming in, mate. But it's very slow at the moment.
It's your own graft really that gets you your work, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, Bollywood calls and.
I mean, I will never leave it. Look, this is my dream. I'm never going to leave it all to my agent. I'm never going to get an agent and go, right, sit back, wait for the phone to ring. Yeah, I'm one of these people that I know what I want and I will go and get it. If my agent can help me along the way, which is fantastic, but I plan to give them more work than they ever give me. It's my dream. They're doing their dream. They're running an agency. They're taking care of 200 people's dreams. I need to be focused on mine. So I'm not going to leave it to them. I'm going to get it. And I promise you, I will give them more work than they get me. Because that's how I am.
Yeah, I know. I
mean, I got very lucky with him. My first ever audition when I signed with him, as you know, was for the TV series Cobra on Sky.
Yeah, you had a little part in that, didn't you? Yeah.
I was very, very lucky on that because they sent me for an audition on a Tuesday. So I turned up there, and the casting director said, I said, "Hi, I'm here for the audition." They said, "All the auditions are tomorrow. What are you doing here today?" I said, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Let me check my phone." I said, "No, look, my agent's definitely sent me today. He's definitely said today."
He's done it on purpose, Camilla.
Yeah. I said, "Don't worry, I'll come back tomorrow." They said, "Look, while you're here, just do it anyway." So I went in and done this audition. They sent it off, and the director contacted them straight back and said, "Right, cancel all the auditions tomorrow. We've found him."
Yeah, well, you're right for a racist fucking.
I know I looked the part. I know, yeah.
And you met my mate Jimmy Puddyfat on it as well.
Yeah. He was a lovely guy. He played the barman in the.
Crazy as a carrot, mate.
Yeah, he was lovely, James. I really liked him. Yeah.
We done a play up in Scotland back in '94, and he played Ronnie Cray.
Oh, blinding.
Mate, I tell you something, absolute lunatic.
No.
So the future's looking good for you, Dal, yeah?
Hopefully, mate.
Happy.
Yeah, you never really know, but look, I plan for everything. So I know where I'm going, I know what I've got to do, and I know how to get there. I've just got to be patient. The industry's died a death, which is slowly now. I'm starting to see casting after casting come through on Spotlight. So I know the industry's starting up again now. So look, we've got to be patient with it, get the industry back up and running. And when it does, listen, all these projects that have been on hold are all of a sudden going to explode. So there's going to be castings galore, and it's probably enough for everyone. You'll probably find they haven't got enough crew for all the projects that need to now start up.
Not a good time to give up acting, is it?
No, but some people... No, it's not. But some people are very disillusioned. They haven't worked in 18 months, so they think, "Oh, I might as well quit." But no one's worked in 18 months. Be patient. Let it start up. Just believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, people won't believe in you either. The first thing you have to show them
into a TED talk.
But it is true. It is true, mate.
Yeah.
So we all have to be patient.
One thing about you, since I've known you, you are very sort of tunnel visioned and very, like you said, if you want to get something, but the thing is, you've actually got the patience to sit there, because I know I've been around you for a little while. I know you've been potless and just sort of, it's so easy to go out and just get a job and just sort of like, you've got two little young kids, you know, you live in Rotherhithe, it's not cheap to live there and all that. So I think it's a little shout to Karen needs.
Mate, honestly, she's the one been keeping us afloat. She works hard. She's quite high up in Bupa, so she's paying all the bills while I'm off in La La Land, mate.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, hopefully it will turn into fruition, and both of you won't need to look back anymore, sort of thing.
That's the idea, mate. I believe that. I honestly do believe that, and that's why I'm never in my mind is there any thought of giving up. I know where I'm going. I've come a long way in a short period of time, so I've just got to be patient again and wait. My time's coming, mate. I've just got to wait. The work, I've done a lot of work that's out there and being finalised and finished. So soon there's going to be a whole flurry of my work hitting the cinemas, hitting short films, hitting.
Yeah, but the thing that's most important, really, I feel, as a socialist and as a thing of the people, you know, I mean, it's okay to have all the acting and have all that sort of thing, but the actual product that you've got is this Vshowcards, you know.
Yes,
I mean, it's going to affect a lot of people in a very socialistic way, sort of thing. You've got all these. One thing I've stayed away from this podcast is politics, Darren. So I don't want to sort of.
I don't discuss politics, mate. I don't do that.
But in this time of sort of consumer capitalism, there's not a lot of socialism around that people can relate to. I mean, the usual socialism is so unrelatable to, I don't know, the working classes, where years ago it was. So to me, Vshowcards is almost a sort of socialistic communism, but I don't mean that in a political sort of vein of it. It's a social community sort of thing.
It is, mate. It's about us taking control of our own destinies.
And it's about other Vshowcard holders, you know, sending their mates Vshowcard card holders. and make it like a little virus, you know, and everything. I think you're really onto a winner here, and I'll always have a VShow card, Darren. I'll always sort of send them out, because I'm not going to be going. I mean, I had a little problem with my agent a little while ago, you know, last year. Not that I'm bothered about acting anymore or anything, you know. I just don't. But you've got to get in spotlight. You've got to get in spotlight. You've got to get in spotlight. So they took my boy on, my agent. So I just felt quite obliged to
jump back on there and keep them sweet.
So I've paid them 170 quid a year, right? The 3 movies that I've done since I've done that have just been phone calls from people saying, look, we've got this. You want to come and do this? You want to come and do this? You know, I remember that one. You helped me out with a phone tape that we got. Yeah. You know, this sort of work just comes. So I'm not going in spotlight anymore, and I don't recommend that anyone else does go in spotlight. Really, I really recommend that you go to vshowcards.com. Really take time to understand the concept and the potential of putting yourself out there as an artist. Honestly, Vshowcards are the future. You know, at some point, spotlight will bow their heads to Vshowcards, and that's my prediction. Because
mate, just wait till you see the new site. It is an incredible difference to what we've got up there now. It's well, for the last year we've brainstormed, how can this, the people love this, but how can we make it better and more useful to them? So it's all the whole site, every page is designed to get you seen. Yeah, no, it's I mean, I can't repeat it enough for you, really, because, you know, as I said, you know, the acting sort of side of it is peripheral, really. You know, this is really a revolution, this Vshowcards. It's a revolution. So, you know, just do that. But now, look, we've had an hour, believe it or not, on here, mate. And it's so nice, because you know what I'm like about editing. I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. Send it to me, I'll do it for you.
It's so nice to have a sort of interviews. I mean, I've done one with someone the other week, Gary Shaw. We ended up doing an hour and 47 minutes, right? And I'm like, how am I going to get this into an hour? Anyway, I'll put it into this like Windows editing suite.
Well, look, if you need any help with any of the editing, send it to me. You know, I'm pretty handy around Premiere, and
I know.
Give a nice.
I know. But Dale, absolutely amazing to talk to you, and to you and Alex as well. I really. You know, I don't have to wish you luck on Vshowcards, because it don't need luck, really. It just needs people to understand the concept of it all, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Now,
well, once we do the new site, we're going to do a big worldwide campaign as well. So anyone who's on there when we're doing this campaign is going to get seen. So
just keep us posted, Dale. Keep us posted. So the only thing left to say, mate, is you've been weathered.
Loved it.